sorry. Oh shit, I'm so sorry, Zane. It was just... Shh, it's alright. I know. Tonight's been rough. The past couple of days as well. Just let it all out. It made me tremble to hear those deep and soulful sobs. His arms flung around me as beneath that straight light in the middle of the night, we held each other longer than any time previous. Scales faded to a more subdued hue, the color washing out to a dusty light blue as he fully found himself again. Jax's breathing started to slow as he gathered himself together. The last few tears rolled down his cheeks as he composed himself enough to stand. Sorry, I know I've been saying that all night, but you didn't deserve that. I just couldn't see anything but my job ending and you weren't there anymore. It was just Zach giving me the judgmental stare. Zach, who is Zach? The guy I mentioned on our date. The first guy I dated, he was a bigger piece of work than I let on. I didn't want to tell you about the breakup. There was a bigger reason than just him being an asshole. I felt a twinge of anger rising again both at Zach for what he must have done and at Jax for feeling like he couldn't talk to me. I forced it down and just listened. Our last few days together were rough. Fights every day, shouting matches at home. I was the problem and he had to make me understand why. He thought at first that the club had some hold on me, that I was just too weak to leave. He swallowed hard and hand reached out, leaning against the street lamp to keep him upright. Instinctively, I stepped closer to him. Attentively, I extended my hand to touch the top of his. First, he drew back, lifting his gaze to mine again, before weaving his fingers between mine and giving my hand a gentle squeeze. I nodded to him, motioning him for him to continue. About a week before we broke up, he tried to get me fired. Set up an elaborate ruse in order to get me in trouble, so I wouldn't have any choice but to leave. He said he knew best, that I'd be better off if I didn't work there anymore. He said he was doing me a favor. It was a lot to take in at once. I thought it was odd his disinterest in guys being spurred on by nothing more than a bad breakup. Being a little shaken up about dating at all, but now I began to see the whole picture. This guy didn't just ignore him, he tried to completely dominate him. No wonder you snapped at me, Jack. I wasn't trying to do anything like that. You have to know that. I know the manager had been expressing his displeasure more lately, and I just wanted to see you again. Spend some time with you. I didn't pay attention, and I don't know, maybe Zach was right. That's bullshit. No one who could be fine with manipulating someone like that could be right about anything. You wouldn't have gotten this angry if it didn't mean something to you. That's what's real, not what some creep who wanted you as a trophy says, and not what some aide who couldn't watch what he was doing says. I guess there really was a reason I was willing to give you my number. Thanks, Zane. Thanks for everything. I think I just need to go to get some sleep. Try to calm down a little, it's been a rough night. So I saw. You going to be alright? Jack swallowed hard, lifting his head slowly as if a weight remained around his neck. He met my gaze, lifting a soft sigh before he found the words. "I will be if you stay the night with me." I was caught off guard by the request. I didn't want to take advantage of his current emotional state, but that same concern didn't want to see him alone in bed with this sort of mood looming over him. My hesitation must have been more apparent than I thought. So I noticed him step forward and kiss me gently on the cheek before pulling me into an embrace. I see the wheels turning. I just don't want to wake up alone. I've got a couch if you don't want to share a bed. Though, yeah, we're talking, curl up and cuddling me till I pass out. I'm sure you can guess I'm not exactly in a sexy mood. I think I keep my hands to myself for the most part. It looked like you could use a long night of cuddling. I certainly wouldn't say no to that. Gently he wrapped his hand around mine and motioned me down the street in the direction he wanted us to go. Let's go. The walk back to his place was uneventful but very satisfying. He expressed some concerns about my car, but it was locked and immediately forgettable brand, so I wasn't too worried. We talked a bit more about him, about Zach, and about living under someone like that. He was feeling better letting someone in and sharing that part of his life. I couldn't fathom staying with someone like that. But it did explain more about him, his desires to please, his showmanship. He wanted to be free and found a way to express that. So when we got in and settled, Jax could barely keep himself standing. He didn't even undress and instead stumbled into the bed, with only the sodium street lamp in his room. Trying not to disturb him, not that it seemed possible considering how quickly he zonked out, I got as comfortable as I could and slid under the sheets next to him. I cuddled up close and lightly kissed his cheek before drifting off to dreamland myself. Morning came all too quickly as the sun from the nearby window poured over me and pulled me back to the waking world. I felt much better after a night's sleep and slowly pulled myself up to a sitting position. To my surprise, Jax was nowhere to be seen. I got up, began looking around where I heard the sound of a shower from behind the bathroom door. Knocked softly, making certain he was alright. "Come on in, sleepyhead. Thanks for staying the night. Probably the soundest sleep I've had in ages. I'll be out in a minute." Yawning, I shrugged and wandered into the kitchen. The scent of fresh coffee was welcoming, as were the 2 toaster waffles with syrup. I chuckled as I picked up the note laid next to them. "Oh? Another thank you for keeping me company. Eat up, Jack." Aww. It wasn't bacon and eggs, but it was still appreciated. I wolfed down my impromptu breakfast, took a sip of coffee, looking up when Jax stepped into the kitchen doorway, as happy as I was. See the smile on his face. I couldn't help but wonder why it was. "Not that I'm complaining, but you seem much happier this morning for some reason. Good shower?" "More like good company. That and before what happened, had a surprise. I had a surprise planned. Not to be the best way to do it, but can you grab me something from the fridge?" Despite the strange nature of the request, I obliged. Pulling open the door, I noticed a little more than a few cans of energy drinks, condiment packets, until I looked in the middle of the shelf. Stacked up in front of me was a giant wicker basket. One of the old-style ones they showed off in every picnic picture. I looked back up to ask what this was about when I saw Jack standing there holding a rose. I made a mental note to figure out how he hid that from view. I wanted to do our third date before anything else could get in the way. We had enough bad things happen last night. I want today to be all about us. That's why we're going on a picnic. I was flabbergasted. He placed the rose on the counter and leaned in, pressing his lips softly and smiling before slipping his hand around my waist. He broke the kiss reluctantly and looked back at me. I thought I was the one who was supposed to be arranging the third date. What if I had some huge romantic dinner planned with music and candles? Did you? Well, no. I could have, though. In fact, I probably should have. It's okay, Zane. I'll let you tell everyone that the picnic was your idea. If that'll make you feel better. Ding. I certainly couldn't say no to that. Say no, he packed plenty of goodies for both of us. For the both of us, besides, it was supposed to be a beautiful day outside. I agreed and he beamed, shifting to a nearly blinding shade of blue. I know the perfect place. Come on. We'll load everything in your car and head right out. In his hurry, Jax had forgotten about my car was still parked at the club, which was a few blocks down the street. He soon realized his mistake as we walked out into the parking lot. Still, he remained undeterred. We wound up taking a detour back to the club, picnic basket in tow, chatted along the way. As I suspected, my car was left undisturbed, and after we loaded everything into it, Jax pointed the way. We were off. He wouldn't tell me the name of the park as we wound through the back streets to the outside of town. When the last of the buildings gave way to spare homes, he finally let me in on his secrets. I used to come out this way sometimes when I was a freshman, whenever classes got overwhelming and I needed a break from all the stress. It's stereotypical, I know, but sometimes just laying on the grass and soaking up the sun just made everything better. Anyways, I found a spot near a little brick amphitheater that should be great for a picnic. When we arrived, we hit a snag. Apparently there was some event going on, and they were in the middle of setting up. Jax was... Just how long had you been planning this little trip? That's not the sort of thing you'd expect to see for a spur-of-the-moment getaway. It's the host's motto, always be prepared to dazzle your guests. Then they'll be more likely to leave you a big tip. As we ate, snuggled under the shade of the tree, our conversation wandered between our favorite stories, reminiscing about old flames. Jax insisted on hearing about my previous attempts in the dating scene. Much to my own chagrin, it was only fair considering I heard so much about his. It really wound up being for the best that we broke it off. We just wanted two different things, I guess. You never realize that until you've been together for a while. Jax got quiet, turning a shade or two duller as his gaze wandered over the edge of the hill to the sky. Beyond, I was cornered, concerned. I said something to upset him, but he looked back at me after a moment with a half smile. Sorry, old memories. I didn't mean to pack those in with the sandwiches and pudding. I guess I felt the same way with Zach. You are the one who wanted to talk about old flames. There are much more pleasant things we can talk about, and more pleasant things to do. Just going to leave that one hanging there, huh? I grinned at him slyly, enjoying watching his scales shift a shade more purple. Waving him over, the two of us snuggled on the blanket, and took a moment to enjoy the day. It seemed like the sun still had its desired effects on Jax. Pretty soon he was all but sprawled against me, eyes closed, and his scales setting into a serene cerulean. Ooh. It's been a while since I had the time to do this. Zach wasn't one for the outdoors. He relished his air conditioning and leather seats. You seem inordinate. Inordinately preoccupied with your ex when your current date is sitting right here. I get the feeling there's something you want to tell me. He got quiet for a moment, staring wistfully into the clouds above us. I know he was a guarded person, but we've gotten this far and I clearly haven't gotten the whole story. He wasn't just my first serious relationship. He was also my first one. Oh, wait, you've only been with one other person? No, silly. Just not the other guys. I guess it's sort of different. I've gotten on the wall but I've never quite clicked in the same way. I just never seemed to find the spark with them after Zach. Honestly, I'd rather, at the rate I was going, I figured I'd be single for a long time. I don't see how you could even think that, not when you're such a charmer with a flair for the dramatic. You said you could pick up anyone in the club if you wanted. I'm just saying it because I find you attractive. Because I'm finding myself having some rather serious urges around you, and I wanted our first time together to be exciting. I'm worried I'm a little rusty is all. First time? Did you have some ulterior motives on this little picnic I was unaware of? Doesn't everyone have ulterior motives at their picnics? Why do you think I brought a bottle of wine? Oh, you lounge lizard. I chuckled, snuggled him up close, and given his forehead a kiss. It was really apparent from Jax's enthusiasm that we were into each other. The only question that remains was what to do about it. Despite our urges, I still wasn't sure what to do next. Out in the park, like we were, just the feel of his body against mine was already making my toes curl, but I didn't want to force myself onto him. We were both getting back into the swing of things, and holding him close was enough to set my skin on fire. My attempt at chaste cuddling